Hey, there he is.
Yeah.
ESPN's director of scouting, Coach Paul Biancardi. Coach, what's happening?
Let's see. People are devouring my information. That's what I heard you say going to break. I love that. I'm going to clip that and use it.
They have been devouring and still
Yeah.
are. This is not
Devouring
just
right
like
now.
happening now.
Yes. I love that. Thank you.
It's the truth, man. I mean, I think that's a big part of this and something that you bring that is nuanced, a real personal feel to a lot of these recruits. You've been around these guys and their families, right? Because in order to get to these clinics and camps and games that you see them at, right? Mom and dad or a parent or somebody has to get them there. So you meet them when these guys are real young, and I think that's a big part of why your analysis is so good.
Well, Pete, thank you. It gives me great background, right? I was just out in Treviso, Italy with the best players, not only for Adidas on their circuit, but also some of the best players internationally that may come into the draft in the future. But you're right, whether it's the Nike Peach Jam, the Under Armour circuit, the NBPA Top 100 camp, you're there, you evaluate the players, and then you have conversations with the parents. I see the parents in the hotels. I see them at the restaurants. Ultimately, we have a conversation, and it's so cool to get to know them, the player, and then the parents and the support that each player has. It warms my heart to watch the draft tonight because I've watched these kids since they were sophomores in high school.
Yeah, it's so cool. One of those dudes, obviously, is Cooper Flagg. The last time you and I talked, the lottery had not taken place yet. So now it's clear he's going to be a Dallas Maverick, right? Unless something crazy happens. We talk about Cooper Flagg. We're so complimentary. It's interesting. I don't see people talk at all really about his weaknesses. I've heard people say he could be a better decision maker, maybe. But if there's one thing like a weakness for him, what is that, Coach?
You know, that's a great question, Pete. It really is, because I was looking for that weakness in high school as much as I could. There's a lot of things he has to improve on. Let's say that. He's got to be a better on-ball defender, especially in the NBA, okay? A lot of teams went at Cooper Flagg on one-on-one clearouts. If you watched that game against Houston, obviously, I mean, they look to attack him off the dribble. The three-point shot always needs to improve no matter who you are. Those two things stand out from a basketball perspective. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't say it's a weakness, but he's really hard on himself, Pete. He is really hard on himself, and he likes to defer sometimes. He needs to be more of that alpha. It's taken him a while to be an alpha dog in high school. He wasn't an alpha dog till halfway through his senior year. That's when he decided to take over games. And the same thing happened at Duke. The conversations between John Shire and Cooper Flagg this year, there was only one conversation. Coop, I need you to do more. I need you to shoot more. I need you to score more. And Coop loves to get his teammates involved. He likes to look for the best shot, right? That's a team guy. But sometimes the best shot is when the ball is in your hands. And he has the ability to make the play, the right play. And that's what's so attractive to him among so many other things. Let me just say this about Cooper Flagg. He could fit in anywhere in the NBA, any franchise. You could take the worst franchise in the NBA or the best. He knows how to fit in. He's an unselfish superstar. And when I say superstar, I mean somebody who's at the top of the food chain, you know, from high school to college. When will he be a superstar in the NBA? I don't know. I don't know if he'll ever be a true superstar, but I do believe he'll be an all-star. And he'll be the face of the NBA in time to come. And he is a great role model for all high school kids and college players because his approach and mindset is just on winning. It's not on himself. He's the real deal. I've looked for weaknesses. I've looked for things for him to improve on, but there's no guy in America that I'd rather be on my team than Cooper Flagg.
And how about how tested he is, like the medal he showed us this year? As you know, guys playing in the McDonald's game this past year, right? Guys still in high school, a lot of them were older than Cooper Flagg was while he was playing at Duke. What do you feel about his maturation process on the court? Like, how much better will he get in the NBA if he stays on course?
Well, he's going to get better every year because each year he's going to pick out something that he needs to improve on, whether it's on-ball defense, whether it's the free throw, whether it's a post-up game, right? He does a lot of everything very well. Probably doesn't specialize right now when it comes to scoring. His best scoring right now is transition. He can finalize a play as well as anyone, but he's such a great playmaker that he keeps the defense honest. He's one of the youngest, if not the youngest guy in the NBA draft. He'll be 19 years old in December. Look, he comes from Maine, right? If you come from Maine, you have grit, right? You have to wake up in the morning with ice and snow all over the ground outside your house. He has a toughness about him, and he has an everyday mentality. Like for him, every day is an important day on the basketball court. That's what makes him special. It's the talent and the athleticism. But I'm telling you, Pete, right now, it's the approach and the mindset on the court. And he is a humble star. And off the court, you're going to love him in Dallas because he's so easily accessible out in public. And people just gravitate to him because he's just an everyday guy.
Last question for you on Cooper. The fortuitous bounce of the ping pong balls, that's how I see it for him and his family, because he gets to now parachute into a team that is not desperate per se. You know, maybe their fans want to have their thirst quenched after the Luka thing, but he can fit into a locker room where there's a couple future Hall of Famers. How beneficial is that for him or a young player to come into an environment that is somewhat stable personnel-wise?
Yeah, I think it helps him a lot. He doesn't have to be the man. Look, right now, Cooper Flagg, he won't say this, but he doesn't want to be the man right now in the NBA. He likes to get acclimated to his team and his teammates and then figure out how he can help his team win. I think it's going to be a two-way street. I think the guys like Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson are going to show him how to be a professional. And I think he's going to show them a couple of things about, energy, effort, aggressiveness, and intensity. It's going to be a beautiful two-way street in Dallas.
All right, let me give you an opportunity now. You're a part of Ace Bailey's team, okay? And I come to you and I'm saying, hey, make sense of this for me. Why is this guy probably the best, under pressure shooter in the draft? Why is he not going to workouts? Tell me something good about this guy where I can get over some of that nonsense, or some of that stuff that I perceive from 30,000 feet. This is an 18-year-old, man. This is what it is, or maybe it's bad advice, but get us over that hump.
Yeah, let's separate the player from the so-called agent or his camp, because that's what you have to do right now. His camp, Omar Cooper, the dad of Sharif Cooper, is handling his negotiations, his team tryouts, everything with the draft, okay? Ace has put the trust in Cooper to do that, and he had some red flags when it comes to his decision-making. Now, let's talk about Ace Bailey, the player, the guy that I know, the guy that I've seen in high school, the guy that I've been on the court with at the Steph Curry camp a couple of years ago. He is a very likable young man, okay? He's very coachable. He's the type of guy who loves to play, whether it's a pickup game or a Big Ten game. Ace Bailey loves the game. Now, he did measure at 6'7", and Rutgers had him at 6'10" this year, so that was a little bit of a downer in the combine. He's been the guy in the draft that's, had some questions, had some buzz. And some of it is his responsibility for the people that he has surrounded himself with. But I'm telling you this right now, he is going to help a franchise because he is maybe the most talented, pure talented player in the draft, okay? He loves to play. He can score at a moment's notice. And he's very athletic, and he's a very switchable defender. So he brings all the NBA talent that you need. Needs to mature, needs to learn how to work hard, and needs to understand that he needs to be his own voice and his own man in time. But if this guy hits, you're looking at a guy that is Michael Porter Jr. like, or better.
We might have to go back to the St. Louis Media Guide, see what they listed you at when you were coaching for Majerus, and then we'll measure you next year at the ESPN seminar to find out the real deal.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the weight will be different, that's for sure. Because with Coach Majerus, all I did was eat and work. So I'm probably down 20 pounds from that St. Louis pitcher.
How about Dylan Harper? Spurs fans are watching this now, or they're going to be watching tonight, and they understand that he might be the second best player in the draft, but they also can say, hey, we've got De'Aaron Fox. He's a ball control, left-handed point guard. Why do we want Dylan Harper too as we try to get better? Is he that guy where you're like, best available, we got to take him?
Now, he's the best basketball player in my mind after Cooper Flagg. He can fit into any system, much like Cooper. He's a professional in many ways. I mean, look at his dad, Ron Harper Sr., okay? 5-time NBA champ. His mom, Dylan Harper, she played basketball at the Division I level, and she's a coach right now. This guy has been a professional his whole life. At 17 years old, Pete, he played 19 and under basketball with USA, and he was a very mature player with a group of older guys. He's always played up. He's always played older. He's going to bring scoring ability, playmaking ability. He's physically ready for the NBA. And so he's a guy that can plug and play anywhere. And you're going to like playing with him if you're De'Aaron Fox. It's not going to be like your turn, my turn. He's going to try to help San Antonio win. And that's what they're all about. Dylan Harper is a culture guy, and San Antonio Spurs maybe have one of the best cultures in the NBA. And just to get back to Cooper Flagg for 1 second, he's a culture driver. These two top picks, I mean, they enhance your culture. They enhance your locker room. They enhance your team in the middle of February and March when you've already played 60 and 70 games.
Coach, you brought up a really good point about Ron Harper. We're seeing this more and more. Players in the NBA having parents who played in the NBA or parents who played basketball. How much does that enhance their ability, or should I say their attractiveness as a prospect?
Well, if the young man is as serious as maybe the dad was, and sometimes the young man is different than the dad, right? There's so many. You look at the Boozers right now who are going to be at Duke as freshmen. They're outstanding. And they got to learn from one of the best ever in Carlos Boozer. So when you're around a dad who's a former NBA player and his friends, you're on the court with those guys, you're in workouts, you're in strength and conditioning. Maybe you're just hanging around as a young kid, watching it all. You're soaking it all up and you're saying, that's what I want to be someday. So they have the luxury of seeing what a professional does, and they understand the work involved. And then their dad can obviously give them the best advice, or at least hire people to work them out that they know and trust, the true professionals. I think they got a leg up if they're serious players.
All right, a couple more for you. Got to talk about VJ Edgecombe, obviously huge here in Big 12 country. I feel like the nation now knows what we knew 3 months ago, or the basketball world. He has kind of really splashed on the scene, cemented that top 4 status. What skill set of his have people, scouts, folks you've been around, what have they been most impressed by as we ramp up for the draft, in that time between the end of the season and right now?
Well, his superpower right now is his athletic ability. He can make plays on the defensive end with steals, rebounds, and he can guard the ball one-on-one. He's very good at guarding. Best lateral quickness and straight line speed, in my opinion, in the draft. Now, he's not broke on the offensive end at all. Got off to a slow start. That's what most freshmen do in college basketball. But then he gradually made the three-point shot. That's the big question with VJ. But he's always worked on his jumper, Pete. And when you look at the numbers and you go inside the Big 12, he shot 39% from 3 in the Big 12. That's hard to do. I talked to Scott Drew, and he said, look, as the season went on, VJ got better. And not only his skill and his productivity got better and his implementation of the Baylor offense and defense, but he became more of a leader. And I think that's really important. Because when he goes to, let's say, Philadelphia or Charlotte, 3 or 4, he's not going to be afraid to speak up. He spoke up this year with seniors in the locker room, okay? So he's going to do that in the NBA. Maybe not quite with the same tone, but he's a guy who's not afraid of making things right in the locker room. Again, another team guy, another great culture driver. He came from the Bahamas at 14 years old in this country just to earn a scholarship, so his parents wouldn't have to pay for tuition. Now he's going to be a top 4 pick in the draft.
Awesome story. All right, last one for you, personal one. What's the viewing experience for you like tonight? How are you set up? Is there emotion involved? Are you on the phone? Are you just dialed in? What are we doing over there, Coach?
Multitasking. Okay, I'm going to be ESPN radio here in Charlotte for the draft. Doing radio shows the rest of this afternoon. I'll have my cell phone on. You do get some last-minute text messages, media outlets, and then also NBA scouts that may have a question as to, hey, you ranked this guy in the top 20. Can you tell us why? We're thinking about trading. a lot of questions from NBA scouts. They trickle in throughout the night. Don't forget, we have the second round tomorrow night. Probably more questions when it comes to the second round. So I'll be multitasking. I'll be multitasking tonight like crazy.
That was my next question. Now, outside of the ESPN radio responsibilities, I know that some of these personnel departments really do lean on you, but I would imagine it's more so on the back end of the draft. Like how much, what is that like? Do you receive a ton of questions on that next night as we get into some of these maybe European guys or guys that are not, global stars as opposed to Americans, or just guys that are deeper in the draft?
Well, I just wrote an article on ESPN.com, 5 underdog recruits, meaning they weren't ranked out of high school, but people knew about them. Some people didn't know about them, and how they're going to be draft picks. So I got a lot of text messages from people saying, hey, tell me more about Said Coward. He's the biggest sleeper in the draft, Pete. He could be a lottery pick or right outside the lottery pick. Started as a Division III player, then went to Eastern Washington, Washington State, was supposed to play at Duke next year, but he was so good at the combine with his interview and his shooting. He's going to be a first-round pick, probably a lottery pick. Think about this, 6'6" with a 7'2" wingspan, a chiseled frame, much like yours, okay? And he has an incredible energy and effort to him on the court. NBA scouts fell in love with him. So after I wrote that piece, because I did a deep dive into him, I got a lot of calls saying, hey, can you give me more intel on him? So most right now, it's intel, right? It's not basketball. Maybe a basketball question, but 99% of the questions from NBA scouts last minute are there red flags, are there yellow flags before we do something.
Oh, Coach Paul Biancardi, for us to get you on a day like this is an absolute treat. Thank you so much. Take it easy the rest of the day. Don't work too hard, all right? It's a marathon. You know that.
Oh, we're both on adrenaline today and tomorrow.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much, man. Take care of yourself.
All right. Thanks for having me, Pete.
You got it. Oh, that's the man, Coach Paul Biancardi. I told you, Scott.